Unfortunately, there are new allegations about Senator Al Franken. Recently, Leeann Tweeden had come out and said that she had been groped by Senator Al Franken and that he had involuntarily kissed her backstage. And Al Franken has said that he should be investigated for that, which is a lot more than you could say for Republicans facing similar situations. Okay, now there is a new allegation. Lindsay Menz, a 33-year-old, told CNN in a report published on Monday that Franken, quote, inappropriately touched her in 2010 while posing for a photograph at the Minnesota State Fair. And Menz says about Leeann Tweeden, I don't want to paint my story in the same light as hers. If someone sees that I said something, maybe it would give them the courage to say something too. Then she explains what happens. Menz told CNN that she was at the fair because her father's business was sponsoring a booth. She spent the day taking photos with local elected officials, political candidates, and celebrities, one of which happened to be Franken. As Menz's husband went to take a photo of her and Franken, Menz said the senator pulled her, quote, in really close, like awkward close, and as my husband took the picture, he put his hand full-fledged on my rear. It was wrapped tightly around my butt cheek. So, look, being too close in a picture, I don't know, right? Her description of what happened is clearly unacceptable. So we don't have to bother explaining why it's unacceptable. But she explains further, it wasn't around my waist, in case you were unclear. It wasn't around my waist, it wasn't around my hip or side. It was definitely on my butt. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Okay, Menz's husband corroborated the account, noting that Franken, who was a first-term senator at the time, pulled Menz in and pushed his head against her head, and that she had told him immediately after the exchange, he totally grabbed my butt. Okay, now look, there are disturbing parts of the story on all fronts. Obviously, if these allegations are true, they're deeply disturbing. The Democrats have taken them very seriously and have called for an ethics investigation, as they should, that is correct. Roger Stone tweeted out the day before any of the revelations came out that it was Senator Franken's turn for the hot seat. So how did political operative Republican hatchet man Roger Stone know these allegations were going to come out before they came out? That is a very fair question. Now, that was before Leeann Tweeden's allegations, but now we have Lindsay Menz as well. I don't know their politics, and that's okay. If what they say is true, their politics is absolutely irrelevant, and Franken obviously should go through that investigation, as I've now said several times. And Franken himself says, I take thousands of photos at the state fair surrounded by hundreds of people, and I certainly don't remember taking this picture. I feel badly that Ms. Menz came away from our interaction feeling disrespected. So, well, I'll have to look into it and find out what actually happened. Now, of course, Trump, after the Tweeden situation, had come out with these tweets saying the Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 while she sleeps? And to think that just last week, he continues lecturing anyone who would listen about, he was lecturing anyone who would listen about sexual harassment, respect for women, Leslie Stahl tape. Okay, speaking of tapes, of course, Donald Trump famously said on tape, confessed that he grabs women by the genitalia without asking them. So that is clear sexual assault. He also admitted to kissing them without asking them. And that he thought he could get away with it. Not an honest situation where, hey, I thought we were on a date and then it was going well. No, he knows that they are not giving consent, and he attacks them anyway and brags about it afterwards and says they let him get away with it because he's a star. So I'm asking, and by the way, there's not 1 or 2 allegations against Donald Trump. There are now 16 credible allegations against Donald Trump. So I'm going to ask a very fair question, and I want you guys to participate here. It is a petition, tytnetwork.com/ethics, and it says this: we support the ethics investigation of Senator Al Franken. We also believe that whatever the consequences of that investigation are, it should be applied 10 times over to President Donald Trump, who has clearly been accused of worse transgressions by many more women. 16 women, some of them have accused him of sexual harassment, many others sexual assault. His own wife alleged in sworn testimony during the divorce proceedings that he had raped her. and ripped her hair out while doing it. Later, after the proceedings were over and she was satisfied, she withdrew those charges. You make of that whatever you want. But she's not alone, and there are many women who have told stories about how they were invited for business meetings, and then he would put his hands all over them, and then trap them in a corner of a room once, in one of the instances, and start groping them and try to do further sexual assault. And some of the women got away, and some did not. So if Al Franken is going to be punished and these stories are true, that makes sense. We are not hypocrites about it. We are honest and fair about it. At the same time, if Al Franken gets punished as he should, if these stories are true, why is the president, in a much more important position, have no ethics investigation? Why is there no ethics investigation when there are 16 women with credible allegations saying that he sexually assaulted them? tytnetwork.com/ethics. Can we get a little bit of fairness in here and say, if we are going to apply a certain standard to one group of folks, at a bare minimum, we should apply that same standard to the other side. So if, for example, Al Franken is forced to resign, no problem. President Trump, I assume, will resign the next day. All of these allegations are deeply problematic for Senator Franken and much more so for Donald Trump, because there's so many more of them and they are much more vicious. Now, it's not to say that what Senator Franken did, if true, is not a problem. It is a problem. I've now said that now 4 or 5 times, right? It is a different level what Donald Trump did when you've already seen the details, you've covered them, they are gruesome. And for so many women, he's a serial sexual assaulter. He has done it over and over again. So at a bare minimum, let us hold them to the same standard. Anything less is not acceptable. TYT membership gets you commercial-free Young Turks. Download it, stream it, podcast it, get all the network shows, and support independent media. tytnetwork.com/join.